Hello, my name is Lee Taylor. I'm here today to show you how to play drum set using the metronome. And this is for music over miles. All right, before we get started, today I'm going to be playing with what we call a drum brush or wand. This is used basically to play softer because the material is either made out of a plastic, sometimes a wood, sometimes like a thin metal string. And again, to be able to play the music at a softer level, if you're practicing in your basement or you're playing maybe sometimes jazz music calls for brushes. And again, it's just more to keep it not so loud. I'm sure if you're in an apartment building or in your basement with your parents, I'm sure they would probably like you to play with brushes more often than the drumstick. So just to show you the difference of sound, this is the drumstick. Now with the brush. So you can hear it's a pretty big difference in sound, and it's going to be better for you to play at softer volume. So that's what I'm going to be using today, playing with the metronome. Speaking of the metronome, let's talk a little bit about that. So a metronome, what is a metronome? A metronome is a mechanism basically that I call it, sometimes it sounds like a clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock. The first metronome I grew up playing with, it was kind of in a wooden box, and it was like a little metal bar. You can basically wind it up kind of like a clock. And once you wind it up, it would go tick, tock, where you hear a little click, 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 click. It had a little weight on it. You can move the weight up and down on the little wand to either make the tempo go faster or slower. Of course, in today's world, things have been more modernized. They have electronic metronomes, which I have here on my phone. Okay, so it sounds like this. Okay, and you just hear that steady click, that steady beat. This is really important to practice with because as musicians, not just drummers, but all musicians should really practice with a metronome. We're human. And we're not perfect, and sometimes when we're playing music, there's a tendency for us to either speed up the tempo or slow down the tempo, and we don't want to do that. As musicians, and especially a drummer, we want to be able to keep the tempo the same, keep it steady, and practicing with the metronome is going to help you. All right, let's see what we have here. Here's the metronome. So as I'm playing the drum beat, I'm really concentrating on listening that I'm right with that click of the metronome. And that's going to help you in turn as you perform again with other people or out in public or with another band or with the band members. That's going to help you keep the tempo more steady. And you must be able to stay with this beat. Now, as you play, if you're not staying with the beat, or sometimes if you're getting too fast or slow, sometimes you can slow the tempo down. Okay, so if you need to slow it down, maybe listen to it. Also, you can practice with the metronome with drumsticks. Sometimes I can since I'm using my phone, I can get some headphones and put the headphones in. I can really hear it really well. That way I can practice with drumsticks. Okay, so you don't want to do this if you're playing with the metronome. Okay, so I was not with the metronome, and therefore my beat was not steady. So it's really important as drummers and all musicians that you should be practicing regularly with the metronome. I firmly suggest that you get something that's electronic, because those tend to be a little bit louder than the old-fashioned ones with the wooden box, the one I explained earlier. So my name is Lee Taylor. In conclusion, I showed you how to play with the metronome.